this computer. Okay. Thank you, all of you, for joining. I'm really excited and I'm a bit nervous. This is also my first online meeting. My name is Isabel. I have a PhD in genetics of aging, and I recently joined Forever Healthy as scientific spokesperson. And I would like to start by introducing our foundation, who we are and what we are doing. So Forever Healthy, okay. Somehow it's frozen. Okay, sorry. So Forever Healthy is a private nonprofit initiative, and we have the mission to help people to fastly extend their healthy lifespan. So we want you to be as healthy with 70 as you were with 30. And this has been a rather silent revolution, but I guess it's getting louder and louder. And the proof of this is you all being here today. So you and we also can envision a world without age-related diseases. And the groundwork has been done in the last years, and the research in that area is really accelerating. So the first drugs and therapies are not only under development, but the first generation are already available today. So I think you all agree with us, it's not an if, but rather it's a when. And with this, I want to introduce our Rejuvenation Now initiative. Rejuvenation Now reviews the first generation therapies that are available now. And those can be classified in 3 different categories. The first one is geroprotectors. These are all the therapies that slow down the aging process in general. The second are compensatory treatments, so mechanisms decrease when we age, and those compensatory treatments can bring those mechanisms up to a useful state again. And the last, but definitely not least, but actually the master class are the molecular and cellular repair treatments. So those that really can reverse aging or age-associated damage. And on the next slide, I would like to share with you some of the treatments that are already available today, belonging to the different categories. So you all are familiar with probably with rapamycin, which is an mTOR inhibitor, or metformin or AMPK activators, which belong to the class of geroprotectors. So those are the ones that slow down the aging process. NAD+ restoration therapy can be used as compensatory treatment. So NAD+ goes down with age and we can boost it back up. There are different other therapies like lipid replacement or decalcification, but today we're going to focus on the third class, the molecular and cellular repair, where also Senolytics belong to, and especially today we focus on Dasatinib. So you see there is a lot available today, but the big challenge is that most of these therapies are marketed in a, how we like to call it, Cowboy-style Market. So it's really profit-driven service offerings. There is not really transparency and no trusted source of information. You can order it on the internet, but there is no focus on risks and risk management, and we know that people don't want or cannot wait decades until we have the knowledge and the perfect therapies. So we want to help navigate the time of transition to enable you to make informed decisions about the treatments that are already available. And how we do that is that we identify interesting therapeutics that are coming to the market or that are in clinical trials. And then we screen all related scientific papers that we can find. Then we evaluate the relevant preclinical as well as clinical studies. We assess the relevant risks and the benefits and also the potential. And then we publish our results open access. And with this, we want to enable the application. And why is it so important to have it open access? So much of the knowledge is buried under some paywalls and scientific papers. So we want to make this knowledge available for free on our so-called knowledge base. And with this, we want to empower medical doctors and clients worldwide and to provide high quality guidance and increase global awareness. And with this, I hope that I introduced Forever Healthy to you. And yeah, we already reviewed other rejuvenation therapies that you can find on our website. But for now, we're going to focus on senolytics. And I don't know how if you are so much familiar with this. So first, I want to introduce to you senescence. What is a senescent cells? So usually on the right side, you can see the events that can happen to a cell that is happily dividing. So the cells of our body are dividing until, and with every division, the chromosomes are getting shorter and shorter. And at some point, they are so critically short that the cells stop dividing and they go into cell death. Another event that can occur is a DNA damage, which is not repairable anymore, and then also the cells goes into cell death. There are different other mechanisms, for example, also mitochondrial dysfunction, which increases oxidative stress in the cells. So basically everything that the cell cannot repair anymore, a cell beyond repair goes into cell death. What a senescent cell does, it can escape cell death by upregulating a defense mechanism, so it's protected against cell death, and it persists in the tissue and just lingers around. So you can ask yourself, what's the harm? It just is there in the tissue. The problem is that it starts secreting pro-inflammatory signals called SASPs, senescence-associated secretory phenotype, and these pro-inflammatory signals not only increase inflammation in the tissue, but it can also convert other healthy cells into senescent cells, and this altogether is shown as significantly to contribute to tissue aging. And when we age, we accumulate more and more senescent cells in our tissues. And James Kirkland really impressively showed that if you remove senescent cells from mice, then those mice live longer by 35% and not only increase the lifespan, but also the health span. So he initially did this with a genetic trick. This is possible in mice, but for humans, we cannot do that. So we need treatments, we need drugs that eradicate senescent cells. And these drugs are then called senolytics. So senolytics are the molecules or the drugs that can eliminate senescent cells. So how are they doing that? They are causing cell death of senescent cells. I told you that senescent cells upregulate this defense mechanisms, and so senolytics can then specifically target those defense mechanisms. And the current senolytics are very cell type specific because different cell types have different defense mechanism basically. So by combining different senolytics, you increase effectiveness. While dasatinib is most effective for adipose progenitor cells, quercetin more is for endothelial cells, senescent cells. And the combination of dasatinib and quercetin has been shown to be most efficient and reached the first clinical trials in humans as a senolytic last year. So we wanted to review the risks and the benefits of these therapies. And for this, we screened over 3,300 papers, and we shortlisted 150 preclinical and clinical studies that we included then in our risk and benefit analysis. And as I mentioned, there are 3 clinical trials where dasatinib and quercetin were tested as senolytics. Then dasatinib has a long history already as cancer treatment, and quercetin is a plant flavonol. So from this really intensive risk and benefit analysis that we did, we identified 8 benefits and 56 risks. You can read all of the single risks and benefits in our analysis, but now to give you an overview and to really pinpoint the most important findings, I'm going to start introducing the benefits that we found. So actually the benefits in animals are really significant, and they are in different organs. But most of these benefits were found in disease models. So dasatinib and quercetin was really effective in, for example, diabetic mice. They had a really good effect. Unfortunately, there are not so many studies done on healthy aged mice. James Kirkland did this study with a 35% lifespan extension, but we need more of those studies also in animals because most benefits are shown in disease models. So then we have the benefits that were found in the human senolytic studies, and 5 out of those 8 benefits are blood senescent markers. So I told you that senescent cells are secreting the SASPs, this pro-inflammatory signals, and those can be measured in the blood. So basically, this is what they did. They measured the SASPs in the blood. But the clinical relevance is not known. So in humans, we don't know what it means if we have these markers in the blood. And so the clinical relevance of the benefit is really small at the moment. Coming to the risks that we found for dasatinib and quercetin. So the risks for dasatinib are known from its long lasting experience and cancer treatment for more than 20 years. And we identified, interestingly, that the risks correlate with the dose and duration. And it's been recommended that for senolytics, dasatinib is more used intermittent, so you only take it for 2 or 3 days. So we went further into analysis, but we found that several of the adverse effects already occur shortly after initiation of this treatment. So the 3 senolytic trials for dasatinib and quercetin showed some minor side effects, but also here we need to say that it's phase 1 clinical trials, so they are done on diseased patients. It's only 23 in total, and they show very promising effects, but it's still phase 1 and they are not so representative yet. So coming to the conclusion is that, first of all, which is something that doesn't only count for dasatinib and quercetin, but for senolytics in general, there is no consensus on measuring its efficacy in humans. Senolytics is still a quite new treatment, and we need to find ways in humans to really measure what is a senolytic effect, what can we measure, how can we prove that senescent cells are removed and that people are getting better. Second is that there is no coherent treatment protocol so far. All clinical trials use different treatment protocols, and we need to have an agreement on the drug dose and the treatment days. So far, unfortunately, there are no studies with clear benefits in humans, and until there are some, we avoid the use of dasatinib and quercetin. So this is, of course, now I guess a bit disappointing, but there are now phase 2 clinical trials, and as I said, senolytics is quite a new therapy, and it is still very promising because senescent cells really drive also aging. But I want to end this presentation now by saying, although the effects that we found were quite negative at the end, it was really a lot of power, a lot of fun to really read through all these reviews. And we are expanding our team. So we are looking at medical doctors and scientists as professionals that would like to help us and team up with us to really, with an analytically review all the scientific papers that are out there for the rejuvenation therapies and be up to date on these things. So if you think this could be something for you, then visit our website and apply there. And also, if you don't want to work for us, also on our website, you will find the other risk and benefit analysis that we did.